spies, secret agents, consultants of undercover work. These exciting and special characters are sparking intrigue within the hearts of folks' average voters since the fictional characters appeared on the large screen in an exceeding cloud of mystery and an achromatic tuxedo. Stories of heroic feats accomplished by these agents of intelligence unfold like inferno, and zilch excites North American country over a dangerous mission or a daring escape. Unfortunately, trendy spy mania has been centered totally on the furtive actions of male spies, feat some implausibly fierce feminine spies high and dry. Well, it's time for these hardcore ladies to enter the spotlight. Here are 10 of the most notorious female spies in history. The first female spy, Anna Chapman. Anna Chapman is one among the lot of known trendy spies. A part of a spy ring dedicated to Russia, she spent years within US, whereas making an attempt to garner info of any kind which may be helpful to the Russian government. She was popularly suspect of making an attempt to seduce NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden in a shot to stay him in Russia for questioning. Chapman hoped to marry him, lock him in Russia, and snatch Yankee secrets from his brain, but get this, Chapman was conjointly a known model. She would typically use her standing to find out covert info and gain access to government secrets. She was finally arrested in New York City in 2010. A model is additionally a spy. A spy is additionally a model. Seems legit. The second spy, Ana Montes. Ana Montes, a noted spy for the Cuban government, began operating for the United States of America with the Defense Intelligence in 1985. She was often referred to as knowledgeable on all things Cuba. As she brazenly disagreed with United States of America policy, it was not long before Cuban officers reached out to Montes and persuaded her to do some work for them. She was the proper lady for the duty. Not only did Montes have access to government secrets, specifically the Afghanistan invasion, she also possessed a photographic memory. This created it straightforward for her to memorize documents and encrypted files and recite them to her handlers later. She would press on operating covertly for the Cuban government for a lot of years till the FBI was able to build up a considerable case against her. In 2002, she pleaded guilty to spying and received a 25-year jail sentence. The third spy, Belle Boyd. Belle Boyd, fully Isabel Boyd, born Could 9, 1844, Martinsburg, Virginia, now in West Virginia, U.S. Died Gregorian calendar month 11, 1900, Kilbourne, now Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. A spy for the Confederacy throughout the Yankee warfare, associate degreed, later an actor and lecturer. Southern Belle Boyd wouldn't have thought about herself as a spy. However, she was essential to several of the South's victories throughout the very warfare. She gathered info concerning Union forces through covert means and passed it on to help the Confederacy. It was 1861. And therefore the war was simply starting. At the time, Boyd was a resident of Martinsburg, Virginia. She was desirous to be a part of the efforts of the South against the North. Therefore she got attached to the Confederacy's fundraising efforts. However, she knew that she may do a lot of. Once Union troopers occupied her city in 1861, she saw her chance. Boyd took advantage of her standing and conversational talents to become near to a number of the Union troopers. Covertly, she gathered the maximum amount of info as she may, whereas maintaining her apparently innocent persona. She would then relay this info to Confederate officers, even though it meant unavowed through enemy lines, to inform General Thomas Jackson concerning the opposition's attempt to burn the town's bridges. However, recon isn't all that young woman was noted for. One day, throughout the Union occupation of Martinsburg, a Northerner tried to lift a flag over the house of Boyd and her mother. When Boyd denied the men access to her home, one rowdy soldier tried to force his approach into the residence. He failed to make it terribly very. Young woman forces out a gun and shot the person dead. Pretty hardcore, right? The fourth spy, Mata Hari. Mata Hari was a spy disguised as an associate in nursing exotic Asian dancer. She was renowned for traveling Europe, playing a series of strip shows within which she would frame elaborate stories regarding her youth to some audiences. She was born during a sacred Indian temple. To others, she was tutored to by Indian priestesses. Mata Hari's attractive nature and boisterous temperament gave her the proper protect spying. Thus, at the natural event of War I, she became a traveler and messenger for the Allies' opposition. Mata Hari was renowned for creating lovers out of high-level military officers from totally different countries, allegedly coaxing them to reveal details regarding weapons and strikes. She would relay these details to the opposition, leading to the deaths of thousands of individuals. However, some folks have speculated within the 21st century that her effectiveness as a spy was exaggerated, or that she might not be a spy in the slightest degree. During her period, an undercover agent was conjointly suspected of being a spy. However, before her standing might be discovered, she was discovered by the Allies and sentenced to death. She was killed by a French squad outside Paris in 1917, a dramatic finish to a dramatic career. 5. The Spy, Nancy Wake. Nancy Wake wasn't your average journalist. Once a childhood in pornus, mostly in Australia, she worked as a journalist, then rose to become a hostess in high society France by marrying a moneyed French man of affairs. Wake saw the destruction and abuse caused by the Nazis primarily, and he or she longed to try and do one thing concerning it. She joined the French resistance at the start of Warfare II, quickly turning into a heroine of the movement. Her successes included establishing communication between the British military and also the French resistance, saving Allied lives by on the court escorting them through France to the Kingdom of Spain, and collecting and storing weapons for the advance of the Allies. She was usually attributable to the execution of German spies, and it's even reported that Wake once killed a German soldier together with her clean hands. These daring feats gained her the nickname the White Mouse. For attempt as they may, the Nazis might ne'er get their hands on her. The sixth spy, Virginia Hall. Virginia, an American spy with the British Special Operations Executive, was as tough as they come. She also worked for the American Office of Strategic Services during World War II and later for the CIA. While on a hunting trip in Turkey, Hall lost her leg to a gun accident. After her leg was amputated, she named its wooden replacement Cuthbert throughout her career. She led networks of agents in various tasks, rescued prisoners of war, and recruited hundreds of spies to work against the Nazis, who refer to her as the Limping Lady. Using her wit to remain one step ahead of the Nazis at all times, Hall served as an infuriating roadblock to many of their operations. Hall became the only civilian woman to receive the Distinguished Service Cross. The seventh spy, Melita Norwood. Melita Norwood was sweet and ostensibly innocuous. A secretary at the British Non-Ferrous Metals Analysis Association, aka the BNF. Within the 1930s, she was chargeable for things like organizing appointments and handling files. Nothing too serious. Wondering where the spy part comes in? Here is. The BNF was truly a canopy organization for the Tube Alloys Project, Britain's nuclear weapons program. Although she lived and worked in Great Britain, Norwood was a Russian deep down. characteristic of the communist ideologies of the Soviet government. This sympathetic perspective eventually got her concerned within the Committee for State Security. Once they gave her a chance to assist them out, she accepted. Acting beneath the code name Ola, Norwood was directed to stay around the BNF facilities once closing, and covertly take much of this information was used to advance Russian nuclear technology away. Files from the safes. She would then copy these files and provides them to Committee for State Security handlers at her house, unknown to her husband. Much of this information was used to advance Russian nuclear technology. Norwood was asked to reveal the identities of her Russian accomplices. She refused, claiming memory loss because of the reason that she couldn't recall any of their names. The eighth spy, Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker is simply straight-up cool. Most famed for being each a singer and a dancer, she became wildly fashionable within the 20s. Baker was into all things exotic, performing songs, dances, and even comedic skits wearing nothing but a feather skirt. As you would possibly assume, she quickly became one of Europe's hottest and extremely paid performers, eventually even happening street. However, most people don't know that Baker was also a spy. She worked for the French resistance during World War II. Smuggling messages by hiding them in her sheet music and sometimes even in her underwear. For her work, Baker received French military honors. The ninth spy, Christine Granville. Christine Granville was a beauty queen turned spy. Before her involvement in War II, she was a model. At the beginning of the war, Granville became a traveler in Nazi-occupied countries in Europe. Her job was to hold messages through the European nation, delivering them to numerous Allied forces while not detected. This proved to be a dangerous responsibility. Granville became famous for rescuing soldiers from execution, escaping gunfire, parachuting, sewing knives into the hems of her skirts, fabricating elaborate stories to get out of tight spots, and charming guards and guard dogs alike. One story telling of how she escaped Nazi police forces by biting her tongue and pretending she was dying of tuberculosis. Granville also used her beauty as an asset, charming various lovers throughout her career in Lengthy. She quickly found the eyes of the national leader. Lengthy would later build her a member of his personal undercover work unit beneath the code name Willing, a hint at Granville's attractive and exciting personality. It's even rumored that Granville was behind the feminine lead within the Bond novel Casino Royale. Alas, Christine was murdered by a crazy ex-lover in London toward the end of her career. The 10th spy, Noor Inayat Khan, the first female radio operator and the first British Indian spy. Noor Inayat Khan was a groundbreaking woman. She was hired by the Prosper resistance movement in Paris during World War II under the code name Madeleine. The movement's leaders initially questioned whether Khan was capable of getting the job done, but their fears were quickly allayed. While many other members of the resistance were arrested, Khan avoided capture time and time again, frequently relocating and remaining in constant communication with London. Unfortunately, Khan's long and successful career as a spy ended when she was exposed by a local Frenchwoman who discovered her identity. Khan was quickly arrested by the Gestapo, who used her personal documents of secret signals and codes to trick London into sending new agents. The Gestapo then captured these agents as well. After an attempted escape, Khan was placed in solitary confinement and tortured for information. However, she refused to reveal anything, eventually dying at the hands of the Nazi police. What a woman! Okay, it's time to end this video. I will come back again with a new video. Thanks for watching this video.